Okay, I will be refuting, Danielle's claim that the minimum wage should be abolished. She already gave basically the definition of minimum wage. It's, a set wage. She brought up federal, but I'm also gonna bring up state too because it is relevant. A wage that, that employers have to pay. Usually it is for low-skilled, employees, but it ensures that, that they'll be able to provide for themselves. I'm going to give you a quote from Arnold Anderson, who is a writer for smallbusiness.com. And he says that a minimum wage ensures low-skilled workers that they will be paid a guaranteed minimum and ensures them to find work and provide for themselves. So basically, it provides us with enough for just a basic standard of living. If employers really don't have that set, that minimum that they can give employees just to survive, it'll be lower and they will be in the poverty rate. She says that we've switched from basically like a manufacturing to more like white collar jobs, and I think that it's unrealistic to think that America has changed from being mostly a blue collar economy to a white collar. Many people all over the country still work at minimum wage jobs just trying to support their families. I'm going to review her evidence of the age of minimum wage workers. I have actually the complete opposite that I found. Even though it is a lot of teenagers, there's still a lot of families that work for minimum wage, and based on Doug Hall, he's also a writer for the Economic Policy Institute. 87.9% of those affected nationally by the federal minimum wage are 20 years of age and older, and additionally more than a third are married and over a quarter are parents. Also, based on the characteristics of minimum wage workers, workers under age 25 represent only about 1/5 of hourly paid workers, and among employed teenagers paid by the hour, only 23% earn the minimum wage or less. And you can see that even though teenagers do make up about 1/5 or even a little bit more, they're not the majority of minimum wage workers. We're talking about families, people that have kids, married couples that actually need to earn a living that really may not have, can't afford education, or really just don't have that educated background. She says that minimum wage should be increased, which I totally agree. Minimum wage should be increased. We are due for an increase in the federal minimum wage. So if my opponent feels this way, I don't understand why she thinks it should be abolished altogether. Because if it was abolished altogether, these companies could be paying employees anything they want, $3, $4 an hour, just not prices, not wages that we could live off of. As I said earlier, she talks about federal minimum wage, but there's also state minimum wage. Federal minimum wage, she already brought up the price, but each state has their own minimum wage, and whichever one is higher is the one that you'll get paid. So, for example, Georgia is about $5.25. California is $8. So Californians will get paid $8, even though federal minimum wage is around $7, and the Georgia citizen, or the people that live in Georgia will get paid $7, even though theirs is lower, around $5. I'm gonna move to her inherency claim. She talks about, like, if there was no minimum wage, that employers could compete more, like say if Burger King and McDonald's, like whichever one had the higher wage, but that doesn't mean that employers don't do that now. You can go to Forever 21, they'll pay $8. You can go to H&M, they pay around $9. That still gives these employers the competition. You can still go and shop for employers. They're still competing as well. Even if you had no minimum wage, employers can, it really just doesn't matter. They can make whatever wage they set. They have the power. And employees really don't have bargaining power either way if there was no minimum wage, or if there is. So how do we really know that wages will increase if the minimum wage is abolished? It talks about, hopefully maybe they'll increase, maybe employees will have more, like power to negotiate their wages, employers will have more competition, but how do we know if the wages will increase and that they just won't decrease? Also, if, just because there's a minimum wage doesn't mean that, employers have to pay that minimum wage. They can pay their employees whatever they want. You can go to In-N-Out, they pay $11. You can go to wherever else, they'll pay $8. Employers can still give their employees whatever they want, and the minimum wage being abolished doesn't make that any different. She says that, that it's better for more people to work for a less wage, that's better than unemployment, and I don't agree at all, because if all these people are working for lower wages, no one will be able to provide for themselves. With the minimum wage being as it is now, if someone worked full-time, they'll still be under the poverty rate, even after the minimum wage being $8. So I don't agree that more people working for lower wages is better than having higher unemployment rates.